Alright, so this video is kind of different from what I usually do, but I wanted to put it out there. Hopefully it'll help some people. This is a beginner guide to playing Tager and Waldstein in BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. It's more of a guide for both characters than it is for just one. I'm assuming you'll be playing them on the same team, although you still might learn something from just watching this for one character. So we should talk about what kind of characters Tager and Waldstein are. They're grapplers. So their entire game plan is to get close, force people to block, and then go into a throw for big damage. They have a hard time getting in usually because they're big and slow, especially Tager, but they do have some tools to get around that. They're also good because they have the highest health pool in the game. So if you make a lot of mistakes, you can just get hit a lot, and you'll be okay. Unfortunately, because they're so big and slow, it's also harder for them to defend, so you're going to have a harder time blocking stuff. But what these characters are really about is guessing. Rock, paper, scissors. When you make the right guess, you're going to do huge damage and feel like the big brain professional that you are. And when you make a mistake, you're going to feel like shit. So I want to go through a few tools for each character. Not every move, but just the really important ones. Tager has more of them, so we're going to start with him. I feel that he's the stronger of the two. So the first one you're going to want to know, you're going to have this one always on deck. Spark Bolt. It costs 1 meter, and you can do it whenever as long as you have that meter. And it is an extremely good projectile. It will go through other projectiles, it will bounce people on hit so you can combo them. It can extend your combos that are already going. Basically, you want to throw out Spark Bolt if your opponent thinks they can sit on the other side of the screen shooting projectiles at you, or if they're just rushing in and they're not expecting it. To be throwing Spark Bolt often until your opponent realizes that they have to be very cautious when approaching you. Next Tager tool, Sledgehammer. Sledgehammer is going to kill a lot of people who don't know how to deal with it. It is a move that has armor, so if you hit Tager during it on his upper body, he won't be affected. Let's get this guy to continuously attack. Oops, not like that. Notice I had armor there. So important thing about this, the armor does not cover your lower half. So if someone sweeps you, you're done. Once your opponent gets wise to how armor works, you're going to have a harder time. But Sledge is very good because it will go through projectiles, it will go through attacks, it will go through supers. If people are just mashing on you, throw out Sledge. Next Tager tools, 2A and 214A, or 214A, yeah. So this is the 214A grab. It's the fastest grab Tager has. If you see a gap in someone's pressure, you use this to punish them, or you use 2A. Those are your two fastest moves. His 214B grab is this. It has some invincibility frames on it. It sucks people towards you. This is another good move to punish people who are just applying pressure without thinking about it. Alright, so these next ones are pretty important. First of all, we got Air Command Grab, the B version. This sucks people towards you if they're in the air or on the ground. This is a very important move because jumping is extremely strong in this game and you want people to be afraid of doing it. So let them know you have this. If someone's flying across the screen, you can try it. It's a little bit harder. The magnetism works a bit wonky the farther away you are. It's working great right now, but trust me, it doesn't always do what you want it to. But your second option, which is a bit safer but less damage, is Atomic Collider. This guy. That will also pull anyone towards you, and right now it is more finicky than anything else. So if you want to be super safe and not use either one of those, you can always do Jump B. Jump B will draw people towards you. You can press C, flatten. So there's some basic Tager tools. let's talk about Waldstein for a second. Waldstein does not have as many cool things, but he makes up for it by being much more mobile. One of his best moves is Jump A. It hits pretty much everything all around the screen. Let me calm this guy down for a second. It will hit behind. It'll hit in front. Usually a good idea. Second of all, he also has a very quick grab, 214A. This one is very important because it's the fastest move you have. So if you're blocking someone and they try to overhead you and they fail, or there's a gap in their pressure, you want to go into 214A. This is pretty much the only way you'll be able to punish stuff. Another Waldstein tool is 236B, this guy. I'm not a big fan of this guy. It can put out some damage. It can go through projectiles, which is probably its most important property. Let's see if we can't show that off.
Let's go. Go. Pierce.
Sometimes it goes through projectiles. It's being kind of finicky right now. There we go. It is a good way to move towards someone only if you think they're going to jump at you or call an assist. You can call them out using this. Another of Waldstein's very important moves, C, standing C. This guy. It moves you almost halfway across the screen. If you hit a projectile with it, it will break it, although that's pretty rare. What will happen more often is you can jump projectiles. So if you want to move, that's what you want to do it with. And then lastly, something you need to remember about Waldstein is he has an air throw as well, just like Tager. Either 214A or 214B. So use these to snatch people out of the air. It's very important in this game. Waldstein and Tager and Kanji, I believe, are the only characters who can throw people out of the air. It's very nice to have. Alright, so those are some basic tools. You're going to be using those a lot. And what you're going to be using them to do mostly is get in on people. So a big part of your game is getting over to people so you can do command grabs. So moving for Tager, he has a few things he can do. Sledgehammer, as I talked about, will move you. Now, it's very obvious that you're doing it, and you can get punished. But if your opponent is just throwing out attacks, you can sledge through them, get right over to them. If your opponent's being a little more careful and punishing you for going full screen with sledge, it's a little bit safer to not hold the button as long, take smaller steps. But once they get a good handle on sledge, then your best bet for moving forward is probably going to be hops. It's a bit sad, but remember that you can also drag your opponent towards you with jump B. So if your opponent's jumping around trying to keep you out, throw out a jump B or so. Also very important, since you're working with Waldstein, he can cover your sledgehammer with his forward assist. So anytime you throw out sledge, you can throw that out to cover you. So for Waldstein, he's much more mobile. You're going to be doing a lot more jumping. He can double jump. He can do a little air dash forward. So your main ways of getting in with Waldstein are jumping, usually tiny jumps so you don't get anti-aired, or the C button. The C button will move you quite far, and it will tag people if they're trying to stand back and shoot projectiles. So those are the two main ways you can get in on people. Now, once you're in, we should talk a bit about mix-ups. Tager, of course, has Gadget Finger. He can do that off of pretty much anything. So once you get close to someone and you hit him with a combo, if I do my extremely simple combos correctly, you can end like this. You can end that like that by tapping the button. You can even end some of his grabs by doing that. And once you're in this position, then you get to make choices. So you could go high, you could go low, you could go into a grab, you could go into a super. Or, most importantly, you could just block. If someone's doing a lot of reversal actions, you're probably going to want to block and just bait an attack. One very important thing is that people love to jump in this game because jumping back is very good defense. So something you want to keep in mind is if you think they're going to jump back, you jump up, do this grab, or throw out an atomic collider. What you want to do is you want to make them scared of jumping. Because once they're scared of jumping, then they're either going to do a reversal, which you can block, or they're going to wake up and just stand still, and you can do this. And that's the big money. That's the dream right there. So Waldstein has a sort of similar thing off his A combo. He can grab people. The A combo continues into that, but you can stop it early. Go for that. So Waldstein also has an air throw. So as I said, people love to jump because you're a grappler, so they're expecting you to do the super. So when they wake up, you can do this. You'll often see them do it in a corner. They're scared, so they want to get out of there. You jump up, hit them with that. Keep doing it until they decide it's a good idea to stay on the ground. And once they're on the ground, then you can actually do what you want to do to them. Alright, so I want to talk about combos now. I'm going to give you some basic combos. One combo for each character, and then one combo for each character with an assist. So these are very simple. You can probably squeeze more damage out of them. I would suggest looking online. I will post hashtags that you can follow on Twitter. People have come up with some very good stuff. Most of it's too hard for me to do because I'm terrible. But here's our Tager basic. It uses Spark Bolt to extend the combo. You press A lot. On the final one, you press A some more. Simple stuff. Waldstein, a little more complicated. I will add the notation on the bottom there. That's just a very simple combo you can do. And then go back into your normal mix-ups. Alright. So for a assist combo for Tager, we won't need to use Spark Bolt. We can just call our assist. Let me try that again. Also an important note there, you can end by going into super. Sorry, wrong super. So that is an option anytime you want to end a combo for big damage. Otherwise, you should probably just go into Gadget Finger. Here's a Tager starter that's a bit more complicated. And then finally a combo that starts with Waldstein and uses the Tager assist. And then the last thing I want to talk about is restands / resets. So those last two combos I showed with the assists, instead of making an attack and continuing the combo, after Gadget Finger or after Waldstein grabs someone, you can instead wait for a second, and let the enemy reset back to a neutral position. And then that'll allow you to go into a mix-up, either a high, a low, a grab. For example, right there, Tager can now jab, he can throw, or he can block, of course. Blocking is always a smart option because people love to press buttons. But as long as they don't press reversal action, you can do whatever you want. So that's the basics of Tager Waldstein. One thing I want to add extra that I probably should have noted, if you think someone is going to burst, you can use Sledge, and the Sledge will eat the burst, and you'll be able to continue your attack. Other than that, that's it, really. I'll post some stuff probably on Twitter about more combos, and have fun. Go grab people.